You're learning with 9 to 5 English. Business English for the workplace. Hi, Tim here with another 9 to 5 English lesson. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to talk about things you don't like. I'm a pretty positive person, but there are lots of things I just don't like. Getting stuck in traffic, bad customer service, long meetings. I really don't like long meetings, and you're probably the same way. There are things you just don't like, and things you hate. So how do we talk about these things? How do we say we don't really like something? Well, you can say exactly that. I don't like getting stuck in traffic. For example, to say you dislike something, you can just change a positive sentence into a negative one. In the same way, you can say you're not all that fond of something, because being fond of something means liking it. There are even more ways to talk about dislikes. For one, you can say that something isn't really your thing. That's a useful expression if you're talking about a preference. So if you're having a conversation about where to go for lunch, you might say, Greek food isn't really my thing. You could also say, I don't care for Greek food. That's not really about taking care of something. Rather, to not care for just means to not like. Now, how about practicing some of these ideas? We're going to present some examples. After you hear each example, try repeating it yourself. Ready? Let's give it a go.
I don't really like living in a small town.
I'm not all that fond of long meetings.
Sales isn't really my thing.
I don't care for the new TV ads.
So, those expressions are useful for talking about basic dislikes, and we often use them when we're being polite or trying not to make someone feel bad. I mean, sometimes we don't want to sound too negative, right? But then again, sometimes we really don't like something, and we want people to know it. If someone suggests something that you just can't accept, or if you need to really make it clear how you feel, you might need a stronger expression. In this case, you might say you really hate something. Hate is certainly a strong word. In fact, you should be a bit careful with it. Nobody minds if you say you hate getting stuck in traffic. But if you say you hate someone's idea, they might get upset. In that case, it's best to use a softer expression. Other expressions you can use are can't stand or, more simply, really don't like. So, you might say, I can't stand waiting around in airports, or I really don't like waiting around in airports. Those are both pretty strong. There's also another word that is similar to hate, but even stronger, and that word is detest. If you say you detest something, then you really hate it. And for an even stronger statement, you can say you absolutely detest something. For example, I absolutely detest exams That's about as strong as you can express a dislike without cursing. Now, it's your turn to try using these expressions. Once again, you'll hear some examples. After each example, repeat what you hear. Ready? Let's begin.
I really hate websites that are slow.
I can't stand this new software.
I absolutely detest PowerPoint.
I really don't like public speaking at all.
Okay, so we've done some practice on talking about things you don't like. But there are some things that you don't really think positively or negatively about. For me, that's how I feel about where to go eat lunch. I don't really care. And that's exactly what you can say. I don't really care. You could also say, it's all the same to me. That's useful if a group is trying to make a decision and it's not important to you what they choose. One more useful expression is, I don't mind. If you don't mind something, it means it doesn't bother you. If you ask me whether I hate Android, I'll say, I don't mind it, and by that I mean I don't like or dislike it. It's just okay. Let's practice using some of these expressions for when you neither like or dislike something. Once again, repeat the examples after you hear them.
I don't really care one way or the other.
It's all the same to me.
I don't mind taking the bus to work.
All right, we've been doing some great practice. But how does this sound in a conversation? We're going to hear a short dialogue between two coworkers. They are talking about where to go for lunch.
John suggested we meet at the new cafe on the corner.
Well, I don't really care for that cafe.
All right. So, what about the deli across the street?
Yeah, okay. I don't mind that place.
How did that sound? One possibility is a new cafe on the corner, but the lady doesn't really care for that cafe. However, she doesn't mind the deli across the street. Now it's your turn to practice. We'll repeat the dialogue, but this time we're going to beep out the woman's words. You will have to say those parts yourself. Remember to start by saying you don't care for the cafe. Then you'll say that you don't mind the deli. Here we go.
John suggested we meet at the new cafe on the corner. All right. So, what about the deli across the street?
All right. So we've learned some great ways to talk about things you don't like, as well as things you hate, and things you don't really care about. In our next lesson, we'll move on to look at how to talk about your ideas and make suggestions. Until then, so long and happy learning.